Lauren here with Lauren Elizabeth Fine Art, and I help beginner through professional level artists reduce stress while mastering the art of animal art. In today's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how I did a beautiful large ocean scene. This is something that I've been itching to do. I can't tell you how long I've been wanting to do this, put just together a bunch of my favorite animals into a painting, a large painting. I have also been so inspired by all this sunshine that I wanted to make an ocean scene. So couldn't make the aquarium for my birthday, so I brought it to my home in paint. And I really hope you enjoy this. And just in time for Mother's Day, I'm going to be posting this Black Lab real-time boho painting for you guys to paint for your mothers. And all the links are down below for the free traceable and a list of materials. And guys, lastly, I launched my ebook on May 1st, and oh my goodness, so much hair. And that is linked down below. It's called The Art and Business of Pet and Wildlife Portraiture, something I've been working on that's just an accumulation of questions I've been getting asked about art materials, how to price your pet portraits, how to run the commission process, how to get and sell your artwork in local businesses, those kind of things. And so that is all linked for you down below. But guys, without further ado, let's get painting. Alright, so this is how I started my painting. I didn't gesso it or paint anything except for just the sketch. I outlined my sketch with ultramarine blue and burnt umber and almost ran out of burnt umber. I have to order so much paint, guys. I'm really running out of it, especially after this painting. First, I laid down my background, getting into all those nooks and crannies. I kept the top closer to the waves, lighter with my white, and then darker towards the bottom, deep blues of phalocyanin blue and sky blue. I love the look of brush strokes, so I made sure that as I worked my way down, I kept those brush strokes thick with a large flat brush. And I kept the sky real light with white and just a little bit of that same blue on the top. I will tell you, I was doing this while caring for an infant, almost toddler now. She just turned 1, so there are some parts that I wasn't able to film, otherwise she would knock down the camera. And I just wanted to keep momentum, and so I just went real hard into this painting. I did nothing else but take care of Anna Grace and paint this painting for about 3 days, and it was just so much fun, guys. I really can't describe how awesome this was. When I got to the turtle, it just got me so much more excited because of how I was able to really use that turtle shell to capture a lot of that sunshine. And as you can see, I kind of jump around. If something needs to dry, I will just move on to another animal or plant. And I will never just leave a painting, wait for it. I'll always work on some other area, whether I have to add a second coat to something or just have to start applying paint. I really wanted to challenge my depth perception with this painting because normally I'm doing things up close. I don't often do landscapes. They are sort of intimidating for me, and so I tried to create depth with things that are close up like this anemone and clownfish, and also getting things far away like those stingrays and the turtle and the jellyfish that I'll put on later. Normally, clownfish, I keep wanting to say goldfish, are so tiny. They are itty bitty little fish, and I wanted to get all the detail in this fish, having it real close. And also all the tentacles and parts of the anemone, I wanted to really focus on pulling out color from those. What was challenging for me were these little tentacles of the anemone. I kind of wish that I had done the entire background behind these first, really gotten those that down packed first before working on these tentacles, because I had to constantly go in with my blue and my ultramarine blue and just different colors to get the background, because I really wanted to create that tranquil, fluid movement in all the animals, but especially in these little tentacles. They're just kind of moving back and forth as the waves move. I was sort of stumped as to what to fill this area, this space with, and so I created just more coral reefs, almost like little volcano looking things. And I knew that I wanted to have more movement here with bubbles. And so this part was really fun. I really enjoyed just experimenting with phalocyanin green and pink, which are colors I have never combined before. And that was sort of an accident. Still had pink left on my brush from doing these tentacles. I am going to add an electric eel, probably right here or right here. I'm sort of stumped on this corner right here, and then some fishies here, some more, and then work on this guy. I might add some birds and then 6,000 other things, and then I'll be done. I did still go with my eel, but it's not an electric eel. It's actually called a zebra eel. I wanted something to cover up this upper left-hand corner, but I also wanted to somehow tie it into my tentacles. So I just created something a little more sinister here, and sneaking up behind that clownfish is this tiny little long zebra eel. I had a lot of fun with this guy. I wasn't entirely sure how it was going to turn out, but I am very happy with it. It still stayed true to my depth and where things are close and far away, and then it also still made things look like it was moving. I have so much action and movement in this painting, and that was really what I wanted to capture. I used a medium gray for the base, and then I mixed burnt sienna with black to create the stripes. And then once I let that dry, I went over the middle of those stripes with some cadmium red. And then after that, I went in with my white and then a mixture of a little bit of yellow to get more of that sunshine on the very tops of the back of this eel. Now this part built a lot of confidence for me, because I was really guessing on a lot of things. Like, I wanted to make my own fish, a combination of like a butterfly fish and like a parrotfish kind of thing for this part. But I wasn't happy with it. I worked it and worked it. I made sure I got the background behind it, this little coral behind this fish down, but then later I paint over it. But it's not like I didn't like the fish. I just thought it was too much for this area. It pulled attention away from the other things. It was too bright, and I needed something a little bit more subtle. And also I wanted to keep this corner kind of dark and secret, because I wanted to put a little treasure box there at the bottom. And I wanted to draw more attention to that eel and the turtle, and then kind of have your eye just kind of move around the painting from there. But this was just too much, and so I was happy with how I was able to fix it. I wasn't sure how it would work, but it worked out. When I worked on this fish, I became really aware of the frustration that I sometimes feel when I work on a painting that's just really difficult. I realized that I became really discouraged, and that made me feel kind of frustrated and discouraged for the rest of the painting, just because I was stumped on this area. But then I had to kind of talk myself through it. Like, no, I have more time to work on this. I can definitely fix it. It might take a little while longer than I expected, but I can do it, and just keep piecing at it, chipping away at it. And as I kind of talked sort of like my little cheerleader was speaking in the background to me. That kind of helped me get through this frustration, because I didn't want to get so overwhelmed that I would then spoil other parts that I need to work on in this painting. Because sometimes we can carry that negative energy, that negative attitude towards the other areas of a painting just because we get stumped on one area. And I just had to believe that I could do it. I could fix it. It would take some time. I just had to realize that it wasn't a waste of time that I spent on that fish. It was very worth it, because that's just a little bit more time and energy that I put into improving my skills with color mixing or depth or contrast or that kind of thing. So nothing is wasted when you get stumped on an area. I think my favorite part about this painting is that eel, because just simply adding more arms, more tentacles over top and around the eel, that just made it look so awesome. Like it was really about to jump out and bite you in, and just straight from the painting. I loved all the different colors that I could put in with the tentacles, like yellows and purples and pinks and oranges. I just thought they worked really well with those stripes and then the white part of the zebrafish. To extend this painting even further, I created some tiny little fish here. However, I didn't think that these fish really worked together. And so I kept the yellow fish, but then the other fish that I kind of made up, I got rid of and put a jellyfish there, which I am very pleased with. This is where I did that little change. I first painted the background, let that dry, worked on a different area, like these little volcanic coral reefs, I'm going to call them. And again, I love phthalocyan green and pink work really well together. Because I guess being complements almost, pink is almost like red, and then the green, it really works. And so that little accident of color mixing is a color that I'm going to try in other paintings. Now bubbles, I thought I knew how to paint bubbles until I did some studying of bubbles in the ocean, and there's a lot more to them. And especially as they get closer to the top, they start to create different shapes, and so that was really fun working on those bubbles, which I didn't film because of Miss Anna Grace. So here, what I did, I worked on that coral reef here, that almost spongy looking coral reef. And then I put blades of grass, little seaweed, not grass, but more like seaweed, that I was gonna have these tiny little seahorses clinging from. Now, definitely note that when you're painting seahorses, you need really tiny, tiny brushes. And it just so happens I just found this random tiny brush in my watercolor brush set. And I'm really happy that I found that, because it was the perfect brush to help me get those little itty bitty lines and gaps that I had to paint for those tiny, dainty features of the seahorse. To paint over that fish that I just didn't think fit with the yellow fish, I added a purple striped jellyfish. And sometimes we think things are going to be so much harder than they actually turn out to be. And this jellyfish was that way. I thought it was going to be a big challenge for me, being so far away, but it wasn't. It was actually very straightforward. And the very last thing to finish this painting before I work on the sides were these jellyfish. Just adding the little lines and the just little grooves all over their body and tail. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this short little time-lapse tutorial. I will see you next week, or in a couple days rather, for the Mother's Day black lab painting. Have a wonderful day, guys. I'll see you soon. Bye.